It's another week. Another big week has gone by, and it's been a big week. There was a lot of Halo news. Halo Infinite is getting closer and closer to launch. We talk about it every week because there's a lot to talk about, but we've got more to talk about this week. And the big news this week is that Halo Infinite co-op gets delayed. We did get a question about it, and I want to go over that question first. But Jordan, why don't you run through? We had a press conference this week, or a dev stream. Joseph Stetton talked a lot in it, gave a lot of information. Let's review what was said, and then let's give our thoughts and opinions about it afterwards.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It's about a 30-minute video that they put on their YouTube channel. They first start talking about the first flight that they had, and they talked about a lot of the feedback they got, a lot of mistakes that they may have made that are going to be addressed in future flights, and that they're going to come out with a blog post about all the criticisms and suggestions and stuff that they got, and they're going to kind of lay stuff out for us and tell us what changes and stuff will be made going forward, which is really cool. Because multiplayer is shaping up to be really well. And this, I think, was actually a true technical test. Like, we were testing very specific things, which was great.
So what were they testing? Just how the servers handled? Or
Yeah, so they were testing a lot of stuff in the developer diary, I guess we'll call it, or whatever you want, the VOD, dev stream. They talked about basically, like, they talked a little bit about the capacity. They said they now know that if they have double the capacity of what they had for that first tech test, their servers will still run fine, which is good because then they can, next they can invite more and then they can test again. You know what I mean? So then we can have a smooth launch so they can slowly increase the, server capacity. So they talked a little bit about that, which was cool. In this tech test, I think they were testing basic mechanics, and then they were testing their bot system because we only got true PvP for like the last 2 hours of the game because they were specifically testing out the bot AI, which I think it's good because I didn't think of this, but I believe it was Digital Foundry that pointed out this is exciting testing these bots because the bots will translate over to campaign because that's just AI. So they'll use the same, they'll be able to refine AI technology, put it over to campaign. It'll make things exciting to see how the AI reacts in the campaign. Which is really fun. So they hit on that very briefly, but then the big stuff was they went over to Sketch, which is the community manager, and the man himself, Joseph.
Man.
Yeah. Which he is, I think, after watching what he's done since he's come on to the Halo team, or come back to 343, I guess, because he was on the Bungie team. He worked on Combat Evolved 2, 3, and one of my personal favorites, ODST.
Now, did they show in the dev stream? Did they show off? Because I've only read it. I've only read all the news stories about it. I didn't actually watch it. Did they show off any gameplay footage?
Not
no,
it
was just
campaign is very tight.
But multiplayer they did.
They showed a little bit of multiplayer, like just stock footage, basic stuff that we've already seen. But one, I think he's the right person for the job. I'm glad he's back. I think he was born into Halo. I mean, he's one of the originals.
And just to repeat, sorry, he's the head of creative, correct?
Yeah, I think he was brought on as like head of campaign, and then he's been now since, I don't know if you want to call it promotion, but he's like the creative head over Halo.
Okay.
Basically, I think he's the one in charge of Halo.
I like that.
Which
he is the one.
Yeah,
he is the one.
I mean, I don't know how it lines up in the Microsoft hierarchy, but like it gives me confidence to have him in charge. I think he's the right person for the job. I think he's made good changes and adjustments so far, what I've seen, and I think he just says the right stuff. I think he comes out and he talks about things. He's honest about things, which is we'll talk about it right now. There is some stuff that got delayed. Halo co-op is not going to be in at launch.
So campaign on the campaign.
Yeah,
co-op
campaign co-op.
Be at launch.
Yeah. So the if you just read the article like me, I was like, wait, they're not bringing the campaign in at launch? But no, it's campaign co-op. So campaign will be a single player experience at launch. Also, and don't get me wrong, that's actually a big hit. That really bummed me out.
Because Halo is
it's co-op.
It's one of the funnest parts about Halo is playing with your friends through the campaign.
And he even said that, David. If you want to read it.
Yeah, sure. So here's what he said about campaign co-op as well as Forge. He said, when we looked at these two experiences, campaign co-op and Forge, we made the determination that they're just not ready. He said, so we're going to keep campaign co-op and Forge in the oven for a little bit longer. When they're ready, we're going to release them as part of our seasonal roadmap next year. So sometime next year we'll get co-op and Forge.
We do know roughly when we're going to get it because he goes on to talk about basically the live service of the game and what the live service means to them. And when game developers start talking about a lot of like, oh, live service, it does make you think, and they start talking about this, it's like, okay, well, are we going to get the game at launch or is it going to be good in a year? You know what I mean? Because that live service can really... It can either be a good thing or a bad thing for you. It all depends on how it's handled, you know. But again, I like Joseph Staten, and I think the big thing with him, because people probably just think I'm a fanboy, I think the big thing with him is he's proved that he can do it.
He's got that pedigree.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's been there for Halo. I think he did like cinematics and story. He did it with Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, and then he was I think he was the head over ODST, which in my opinion. And Mark, you've played ODST now. I mean, it depends on the day. It could be my favorite campaign. It could, depend on the day and how I feel. But I really enjoy how they did the campaign of that game, and I think he's very good at what he does. So I think when he says, it's like Phil Spencer. That he has the pedigree. When he says stuff, I trust he will deliver on what he says.
Well, I mean, you look at Halo and you have a piece of paper, put a line down the center, and you go good Halos and bad Halos. And when his name is on every one of the good ones,
that's on the good side. Yeah.
And I wouldn't say bad, but like
mediocre,
less good. Less good heroes. He's not on any of those titles. It seems like that's a good win for Microsoft to grab that for him.
Yeah. So disappointed in it, Jordan, you said.
Yeah.
Real quick. I do want to read Junior Wing King's question here, and then I want to get your thoughts on being disappointed. Junior Wing King says, Halo launching without campaign co-op in Forge. What does this mean for 343, Xbox, and the fans? Jordan, disappointed, understandable. What is your thought process with having no campaign or co-op at
It's
launch?
Disappointing. I'd rather them have them tell me than me find out day one. That would be bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to hide things. So I like the transparency.
Let's throw up some multiplayer.
And
okay.
Because that was. I'll tell you what made me more hyped for Halo than anything was watching the beta multiplayer of Halo. It was just like, yes, they're doing things right here.
Yeah, they are. It feels, it looks, and from what I've heard, it feels good.
Sorry, I completely interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I like, if anything, because, I mean, people will be like, oh, well, last year the delay really made you mad. It's not the delay that made me mad last year. It's how it was handled that made me mad last year. This is being handled much better. He came out and he said, look, well, first of all, there's no release date. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, so, I mean, we know this holiday, it's just, they're not hyping us up with a bunch of campaign footage and then saying, oh, by the way, no co-op. They haven't showed us Forge yet. The really thing that we've only seen since Joseph Staten has taken over is multiplayer, which he says is in a state and it's ready.
Yeah.
Or it's not. It's there. It's on schedule to be ready. But no, I think losing campaign co-op and I think losing Forge at launch is definitely a huge hit. Me and my younger brother have always played the Halos at launch cooperatively, from the original Halo all the way up to Halo 5, and it will be a big bummer not being able to do that until what Joseph Staten is saying about 3 months later.
Yeah, so next year.
He talked about seasons and their cycle of seasons. He says each of their because he said this is going to be seasonal content that they're going to use, right? Or they're going to put in with the seasonal content. He says their seasons are going to be about 3 months per season, which gives us about 4 seasons a year.
Good math.
Yeah, 12 months in a year.
Good job there.
So he said he didn't confirm anything, but he says we're looking for co-op at season 2, which will be 3 months in.
Yeah.
Because season 2, and they said we're looking for Forge around season 3, which will be 6 months in. So we at least have an idea of when it's coming. We're not left in the dark. They're not being quiet about it. They're being. I appreciate how this has been handled much better than how it was handled last year.
Yeah. So you're bummed.
It's incredibly disappointing.
Sure.
Co-op alone is fun. But again, going back to his interview, he talked about what you're going to be doing in campaign. He says, they're dialing down campaign. They're doing all the last minute polishes, fixes, making sure it's ready to go.
So it sounds like balancing issue with
they
co-op.
talked about how it it adds a layer of complexity because you can go up and take a banished base from any direction. You can do what you want because it's not open world, but there's more freedom, right? So he talked about the complexity of that and developing a game around that, and then he says when you add co-op into that, it adds a whole nother layer of complexity. So they just want to make sure they get it right. And that's the terminology you want to hear from a game developer, right? Especially a game that you really enjoy. Like, hey, it's not ready. It's gonna be ready. And it's going to be ready, we hope, in about 3 months. I feel like it's being handled much better than last year.
Spicy. What are your thoughts?
Well, we get that we're disappointed, but I'm gonna talk about like the glass being half full.
Okay.
Okay.
3 months is not that long. I think it's enough time to play the game, get it out of our system a little bit, and then get rehyped. I feel like that's a good timeline to have that shot in the arm with a game again.
Yeah.
So it's like it sucks. Forge mode, I think
Forge mode is not a big deal short term.
Actually, it's
much bigger deal longer term.
It's long. It's a bigger deal longer term. On launch, co-op would have been. I mean, we all would have played it together.
Yeah.
We all would have had our Mountain Dews.
Well, it's one of those things that's expected.
Yeah.
It's part of expected to be there. It's
part of the Halo
culture.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 months, that seems like a good time to get re-excited to play the game on Legendary with your friends again.
Yeah.
So I think glass half full, I think that's a good timeline to rekindle your love for the game again.
Yeah.
Because at that point you would have been playing multiplayer. You probably were going to be like, okay, what's the next game on the docket? But this will give you a chance to re-enjoy the game again. Yeah. So I think 3 months is a decent timeline. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed again. But I think they're being pretty dang honest and clear with us, which
and the time frame of announcing this is what I respect is it's far enough out. This would be a bigger deal if it were much closer to launch.
I think they're doing. I think that's
again
respectable. What they're
going
doing.
through like all the comments and stuff on different YouTube videos, especially the Halo one because they posted it on their Halo channel. Most people, I mean, there's some people that are really upset out there, but you're always going to get that. But most people, I would say, the general consensus is that it's, hey, this is incredibly disappointing. It sucks. But I'd rather have a game that works than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I think it's because of Joe Staten. It's because, like you said, if you look at his record, he's on the good side. You know what I mean? And it's like, let's take. I mean, and I don't mean any ill will towards this, but if you took like Bonnie Ross as the studio head, if she came out and said that, I think there would be more frustration because. I don't think like
because she's tied to, for instance,
Master Chief Collection, Halo 4, and Halo 5.
Yeah, the Master Chief Collection in particular.
And I'm not
conferences.
And I'm not saying she's bad at her job because I think she's probably doing really good.
She hired Joe.
She hired Joe Staten. She's good at her job.
She either hired him or was forced to hire him.
Oh yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. So I'm not saying she's bad at her job. I don't think she's bad at her job. But what I'm saying is, coming from someone like Joseph Staten, who has a pedigree of, let's just say, excellence, because you got Halo 1, 2, and 3, and ODST, and I think he did a little bit of work on Destiny, which he did the story stuff on Destiny.
He's the Michael Phelps of Halo development.
I know he helped out. I think he helped out. Yeah, I think he helped out with some of the books, and I think he helped out on Recore, write some story for Recore, but I think it's like you said, if you put all the good Halos on one side, his name is there. And if you put all the Halos that people have issues with, his name is not there.
Yeah.
To your
and I just think coming from him, what I'm saying is I think he's the right person for the job because of his pedigree, and I think the fans and the people excited for Halo trust what he says.
Well, even look at this announcement, how everyone is taking it. We're saddened.
Yeah.
But we're not.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not trending. In a negative way.
Yeah.
So that's
not like last time.
Yeah, not like last time. That's to credit how him for doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying Bonnie, because I know there's going to be some comments. I'm not saying Bonnie Ross is bad at her job. I'm just saying Joe Staten has a pedigree, and this type of announcement coming from him and what he said afterwards, I think there's a lot of trust people have for him within the franchise.
Yeah, just to your point, Brother Buddha writes in and says, "I'm royally bummed about no co-op campaign off the start. What about you guys? My friends and I all were going to take a day off and 4-player on Legendary. First of all, respect for starting in the deep end of the pool.
Diving right into Legendary.
Well done, Brother Buddha. But I think that, like you said, is kind of the consensus, because unlike other games that have co-op, it's not necessarily Halo, especially shooters. Among the shooter genre, Halo is unique. In the campaign co-op is how a lot of people were introduced to Halo in the first place.
Yeah. Well, and even in the interview, because this is just one little excerpt we took out of the interview, but he talks about how co-op and Forge are core parts of Halo.
Yeah.
And and if you're not a Halo fan, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Another comment. Shadow Hypnotic writes in and says, "I agree. I'm glad, however, that it seems they're at least making sure to cook everything properly before serving it."
Mm-hmm.
And again, just representing it like that kind of disappointed, but
and it seems like that's
happy.
like I said, there's some hate out there because there always will be, but I think the general consensus seems to be that a lot of people are disappointed, which it is disappointed. I'm disappointed. I think for the first time, I'll jump into. I think all the Halo games I've jumped into campaign first. For the first time, I'll probably jump over to multiplayer.
Yeah.
Are you going to wait the 3 months?
No, I'll play it, but like I said, usually day one, like me and my brother Jonathan, we're there, we're playing. We usually start out on heroic. We're not ballsy like Buddha there, but
ballsy Buddha.
Yeah, but it's just it's something. It's I don't know. It's just a part of Halo. You play it co-op.
Yeah. Last comment from Rose City Gamer. He says, "When they try to do everything for everybody, nobody wins. Look at the Master Chief Collection launch."
Yeah.
Good points.
We noticed that Joseph Staten's not attached to that launch.
That was just broken.
Yeah. Remember how hyped we were for that, and then we just ended up doing it.
I think that was probably the biggest kick in the nuts.
The first time I tried to go to that kiosk and load the Master Chief channel, and it broke my game, and I was confused. You know how in the game they have those kiosks? Yeah. It was really I was confused.
It confused me.
Well, you remember when we tried to invite our friends to play and nothing ever happened? For
but campaign worked.
Quite a few months.
By yourself.
Yeah, it was a long...
If you were lucky.
Long time, yeah. To go back to Junior Wing King's question, I think we answered. He said, "What does this mean for 343 Xbox and the fans?" I think we answered what it means for the fans. I think that's kind of the sentiment. Disappointing, but... It's far enough ahead. Thanks for letting us know. Thanks for letting us know it's being worked on. That's the right move. What about for Xbox? I don't think Xbox overall, because I think it feels like Halo, this iteration of it is really trying to introduce a new generation to Halo, as well as you're going to keep your nostalgic people there, or your longtime fans there through nostalgia. I think that this doesn't hurt new players, because new players are unaware of this. This is not a big deal to them. And I really think, I know that you guys disagree a little bit. I really think the primary push for new players is the multiplayer side of things.
Well, it's free to play, so it's because of the free to play to people, right?
And so what is it, anyways, what does this do for Xbox, if anything? I think it doesn't hurt Xbox, because I think multiplayer, if multiplayer was delayed, I think that's the part that ultimately hurts Xbox.
Well, I think ultimately it's how it was given, the information was given.
Exactly.
I think that's what makes it not affect Microsoft as much.
Yeah.
I think that's how it was said, from whom it was said. I think that is key into not hurting the brand, if that's what you're asking about.
Yeah.
Because it's people aren't upset because people aren't upset at Microsoft. They're upset essentially of kind of the situation.
Mm-hmm, sure.
I think that is pretty key. It's very subtle, but that's far more important to not have the brand to be damaged. More or less just the disappointment and not being able to play with your friends.
Well, to that point, Master Chief Collection kind of damaged the brand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That hurt. That still hurts.
Cyberpunk damaged CD Projekt Red.
It damaged more than the brand.
That's Xbox and the fans. What about 343? What does this mean for 343, if anything?
343 has been in a weird spot for me.
You're on
talk about it.
You're like in a love-hate relationship with 343.
It's just... Let's look at what Bungie...
Let's look at the facts.
Let's look at the facts. Let's look at what Bungie did. And I'm not saying Bungie's perfect, because they're not.
Clearly.
Bungie brought us Halo Combat Evolved, right? Bungie brought us Halo 2. Bungie brought us Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Reach, which are all good games. I don't think any one of those in the bunch can be considered mediocre. There may be some certain features and sets that I prefer and dislike in some of those games.
But world-class games.
But I think they're all very well done games. Bungie goes and does Destiny, which, again...
world-class game.
And it just goes to show you gameplay's king because they had no story in Destiny 1. They had one cutscene. They blew their budget on one cutscene.
They had two things.
And we played that forever.
They had two things.
So did a lot of people.
Amazing gun mechanics. And a
style.
And a gameplay loop.
Style.
And style.
And style. Don't
Style.
undercount style.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
So
the holy trinity of gaming. Doesn't matter what you have as long as you've got good gun mechanics, style,
but even then, and a
gameplay loop.
Let's take the first two games off the gate. So the first game, Bungie on their own, well, I mean, with Activision or whatever you want to call it, they're on their own now, was Destiny. The first game, 343, was Halo 4. Halo 4 completely changed the gameplay of Master Chief.
I like the campaign of Halo 4.
The campaign of Halo 4 was okay. I have my gripes with the campaign of Halo 4.
It's like a momentous, iconic.
Well, the problem with Halo 4, I think the story was good. I think the story between Master Chief and Cortana was interesting, although I feel it was a little rushed. If you would have added maybe
more detail in the storytelling,
maybe
in certain spots, I think it would have helped.
They needed
a lot.
the Zack Snyder edition. It.
It's just
they should still do that.
That would
it would be way good.
Let's forget about Bungie and Destiny. We don't need to compare them. Let's just jump into Halo 4. So the first game that 343 rebranded, given a good majority. I mean, there was a lot of people at 343 or at Bungie that stayed with 343. You know, so there's some overlap there. But this is 343, their first game, Halo 4. The story I feel was decent, and I do like where they went with Master Chief and Cortana. I like what they did. It almost kind of felt like the next natural step, getting their relationship a little bit more, not weird, but just more involved or more fleshed out, I guess. Not weird, but I
don't think it's weird.
Yeah, but no. The problem I have.
I enjoyed the sexual tension between them.
The problem I have, one, it was cool what they did with Forerunners, and we learned a little bit more about Forerunners, which was great. But the problem I have,
gave Cortana feeling too. I think.
Well, yeah, and
attachment.
The problem I had with it is it happened too fast. You do the first mission, which in space, which is technically a tutorial. Master Chief falls to the ground like he usually does in all the Halo games. And then Cortana's freaking out, and they immediately go into this rampancy, and they just dive into that whole storyline. If they would have maybe flushed out, maybe slowed Cortana going into rampancy, like maybe add another mission or two where Cortana has little glitches, and Master Chief slowly kind of starts to think, hey, there's something wrong. Not just immediately, whoa, what's wrong? Let's find Halsey. Let's do it, I feel like they could have expanded the story. I think the reason they didn't is because I think they were rushing to put Halo 4 out on the 360, and we were kind of getting towards the end of the 360 life cycle. There's some other stuff that they added that I don't like. I think Sarah Palmer, to be honest with you guys, is a terrible character. The first thing you do when you take over a game franchise is not introduce a character that immediately assaults the fan favorite character.
Master Chief.
Yeah, which he walks in and she goes, I thought you'd be taller, and you're like, who the F are you? Like,
I don't have a problem.
Who are you? Like, yeah. No, it's
and throughout the entire campaign, she's super annoying.
Yeah, and then Spartan Ops is even a worse thing. But
we just finished that yesterday.
So there's that. The only character that they introduced that I like is Captain Lasky. Which they did that cool little movie for him. I like Captain Lasky. They introduced that douchebag of a captain. Basically, what I felt like the Halo 4 campaign, although the story was decent, it could have been fleshed out in better ways. I felt like they added a lot of drama when there didn't need to be drama.
Sure.
Like the captain when he's like, I'm not gonna listen to a aging Spartan and his malfunctioning AI. You guys are stupid. What was the point of that? That made no sense. And then the guy gets like reprimanded at the end, and there was no point to it other than to cause drama.
Well, no,
when
but
drama
I think,
didn't
but
need
I
to
think
be needed.
In Halo 4, the point of that is to show that the military USNC? What?
UNSC.
Yeah,
United Nations Space.
Yeah, UNSC had moved on from Master Chief.
It was only 5 years later.
He
literally saved the universe 5 years ago, and we're just going to write him off
for like the third time.
Yeah, for the third time.
Yeah, but leadership. But see, I think that I think the point of some of those characters was to show like leadership is threatened by Master Chief, because whenever he was around grunts, they're like in awe of Master Chief. That didn't change. But it's this like leadership has moved on. We don't need you. That's the arrogance of leadership, which ultimately was the demise of Cortana as well, right? So,
what do you mean the demise of Cortana?
Well, I just think the arrogance overall by everybody illustrated. Well, we don't even need a Cortana, so let's just ignore her. And
they had Roland, which is basically
and then she
Cortana.
Comes over.
Well, yeah,
she
with
comes
an attitude.
over and with a snarkiness. He's a snarky butler.
He is a snarky butler.
I actually do like Roland though as a character. But anyway,
no, but so I don't.
But if that was the point, like
I think the point of those characters is to make you feel annoyed, though.
Here we go. Yeah, but it's there for drama, because he's not. He gets thrown off at the end of the game. They say, oh yeah, Command wasn't happy that he didn't listen to you, and it's like, well, no, duh, he just saved the universe 5 years ago. But what I'm saying again. That could have been fleshed out. Why not have that guy? I think his name was Del Rio. Why not have that guy like, hey, Master Chief? Master Chief wanted to go after the Didact, right? In Halo 4, and Del Rio gets all upset and he gets his panties in a bunch, and I don't know. He's just a weird dude. Why not have a mission or two where he goes, hey, I don't think we should go there, but let's give it a shot, and then everything fails, and then he gets mad at Master Chief. Because right now, when Master Chief walks in, there's no reason for him to be mad at Master Chief. The only reason it's in there is to add drama that's not needed.
But I think that's
the problem but you can't like. That's terrible character building.
But regardless, I'm not disagreeing that Halo 4 is not as good as the other Halos.
And then I think the story wise, again, I don't think Halo 4 is the worst story. To be honest with you guys, I don't think it's the best, but
I enjoyed Halo 4.
I like some of the stuff they did. My biggest problem with Halo 4 is the entire story revolves around one cutscene, and that cutscene is the most important cutscene in the game, and again, could have been spread out a little bit more. You could have slowly explained things and just instead of throwing it all into one 5-minute cutscene and
then having to go to forums and the depths of the internet to figure out what it all meant.
The dark web.
The dark web.
So again, I'm not saying Halo 4 was a
no.
Bad
so the original
story.
question is, what does this mean for 343? And you said you have mixed.
Yeah, how did
mixed
we?
Feelings
Oh yeah, I have mixed feelings on Halo 3 because of that. Halo 4, Halo 5, or 343 Master Chief Collection. It's good now, but it was not good at launch.
It destroyed it.
It
went from being one of the most hyped games to immediately no one playing it.
It very much hurt
for not just a week, for months.
It very much hurt the brand, right?
Yeah.
Halo 4, I feel was a mediocre game. The gameplay I didn't like at all because I think they tried to compete with Call of Duty, which why are you trying to do that?
That's what I think they were. I don't think 343 had the confidence to make their own Halo game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I felt like, it was their first shot at this point. Yeah, looking back, I feel like they were just trying to rely on the modern first-person shooter that was king at the time, which was Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel they did. I think that they should have relied on the classic Halo formula, and they didn't. I think it could have. The guns they introduced and things like that. I feel like, and the abilities they kind of went Call of Duty. The loadouts, I feel as though maybe they just weren't confident in what they could produce with the traditional Halo formula, and I think that's kind of the backbone of the problem. It was really their first Halo game, and what pressure that you would have doing that, So I think ultimately, that's my opinion. It's probably wrong, but I think they just didn't have the confidence to produce the next iteration of Halo.
Yeah. And then you have Halo 5, which they were also in charge of, which was our first Halo of the new generation. And I will admit, the gameplay in the arena did improve from Halo 4. I prefer Halo 5's gameplay.
I enjoy
over
Halo 5
4's.
multiplayer a lot.
Because
really
it's back to like it. I will say Halo 5 is kind of hardcore. arena, which depends on your flavor, could be good or bad.
It's all good.
It's all good.
We have all the other formulas with other games.
Yeah, well,
I agree with that.
Go elsewhere for that.
Yeah, I mean, I like, out of all the new modern Halo games, I do think Halo 5 is the better gameplay wise. I think multiplayer was fun again. It was about power weapons, map control in the multiplayer. The story of Halo 5, however, and I won't spoil it because you guys haven't played it yet, and we're planning on playing it soon. But the story, after going through Halo 4 and Spartan Ops again, there's a whole story about the Created, which is okay, but the more I think about it and the more I sit down thinking we're going to play through Halo 5, and I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are going to be, the more I feel like the story of Halo 5 invalidates the story of Halo 4, which is unfortunate. And I think that's why in Halo Infinite, there's not much. I mean, the story's obviously going to be in there because there needs to be a continuation, but they're not focusing on the continuation of the story of Halo 5. They're focusing on something else.
Yeah. So what does this delay mean for 343? Anything, or you just think?
Well,
I actually, I'm just gonna say this. I actually think it's good for 343.
Yeah.
To slow down, not pump something out that's not ready.
Yeah.
I actually think it was a risky move to do it. To do this, but the world is done with unpolished crap.
Yeah.
Thrown at our faces. We don't like that.
Yeah.
And I think they are making sure how he said it. Parts of it are finished. Parts of it are good. Parts of it have our brand of approval. That's what we're giving you. The other parts are not, and we're going to make it so it is flushed out and perfect for you guys to play.
Yeah.
I think that's the message they gave, and I think that
Yeah.
makes them look good.
Well, and again, it's all how it was said. For example, I believe Forge was not in at the launch of Halo 5, and the reason people were mad at that, because I can see people now, well, why are you mad at it then but not now? One, again, it's because of who said it. I have trust in Joseph Staten because of his pedigree. And two, we're not finding out a week before launch or the day of launch for a lot of players that it's not in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of transparency here, and it's coming from people who have their name on the good side of the of the Halo genres. But
so let's wrap up the discussion on Halo. Overall, more, less, same
disappointed,
same excited for it.
Just
Spicy.
overall disappointed, but grateful that I'm disappointed.
Well said, Jordan.
No, I'm more excited for this Halo game than I think I have been for the last couple Halo games. Part of it's because of the multiplayer that we're getting to see. I'm as much as I did like the boosting and stuff in Halo 5. I'm glad we're going back to more of a basic Halo movement wise. But I think it's like Mark. I'm really excited to see the multiplayer of this, and I am excited to play through the campaign, even if it does have to be single for the first few months. And I'm excited because I feel like they have the correct people in charge.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with what you guys said, and I appreciate the question, Junior Winking. Thank you very much. Just to go back to Halo 4, Brian F. says, maybe we weren't privy to all the issues regarding the Master Chief. Perhaps he is being framed for taking someone's lunch from the staff refrigerator. Work relationship soured.
Yeah, that's probably what it came down to.
Probably. That's the detail. That's the Zack Snyder detail.
The detail that we
need in
missed.
Halo 4.
He took someone's, Oreos.
Consistently, not just once. He was that guy.
So he took someone's ham sandwich and Oreos, and from Sarah Palmer is pissed to this day about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, it's just, I will admit Sarah Palmer got better in Halo 5. Do you know why? Because she wasn't in it very much.
Because they killed her? That's like they Jar Jar Binksed her?
No, you can tell the criticism they got from Halo 4 reflected in the Halo 5 campaign.
That is funny. Super Shocker says Halo 5 also took forever.
It did.
Longer
It did.
campaign?
But this one's taking forever,
well,
too.
no, I meant take forever
Development-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I don't mind how long. Look at Rockstar. I mean, how long did it take for us from Grand Theft Auto 4 to 5, right? Yeah. How long is it taking us from 5 to 6? Yeah. Which I will admit they did put Red Dead Redemption in the middle there somewhere. But again, how long from Red Dead Redemption 1 to 2? I don't mind that games take a while.
Well, like Skyrim.
Yeah.
We still don't.
Well, the Skyrim
or even
thing,
a new Fallout.
The Skyrim thing gets me. Like, guys, look, I know everybody wants a new Elder Scrolls. I do too.
We all
but
do.
Okay.
They're working on Starfield. They just want to try something new. Let them try something new.
What are you
and
being
then they're
sarcastic,
working. No,
or
I'm
are
being
you
serious. I'm being serious. Like let's see how Starfield goes.
Sounds like you're
let's
mocking
see
people.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. Like I feel. Bethesda deserves their criticism where they get it, with the launch of Fallout 76 and some different things that they're doing, even some of the criticisms they got for Fallout 4. I believe they deserve it. They deserve some of the criticisms they got. I don't feel like we should just beat them to death over. I know Elder Scrolls is a great game. We know it's coming. They announced it. They did like a helicopter shot of New Zealand and told us it was gameplay, even though it probably wasn't, to tell us that it was coming. You know what I mean?
Well, even Tom Howard's intro was like, "So, I'm gonna show you this. It's not much."
Let me warn you before I show you this. You asked for it.
Yeah, I never thought to myself, "Oh, Bethesda's done with Elder Scrolls." No, I never thought the MMO is the new Elder Scrolls for them. I think the MMO is in its own genre, and they're still going to make Elder Scrolls games. But I understand when it's like Bungie when they wanted to leave doing Halo and try a different game. It's just like that with Bethesda. Like, hey guys, we want to try this, this sci-fi Mass Effect kind of style. We want to try this new game Starfield, and we just let it. I'm just saying, just let's see how Starfield goes. You know what I mean?
Let it happen.
Look, if Starfield sucks and it's a royal crapshoot, then yeah, okay, I'll say, hey, yeah, we wasted our time. We should have just built Elder Scrolls, right?
Yeah.
But let's just see how let them branch out. Let them get creative.
Great question, Junior Winking. Thank you very much for writing in. By the way, I want to talk. Speaking of, we're talking about games. Red Dead Redemption popped up there. I jumped into multiplayer this week and tried out Call to Arms. And are you ready for this? If they get more DLC like this or content like this into their multiplayer, this is the first content that it's like, whoa. I now understand why I want to play Red Dead Redemption Online. Really,
I don't have to pay for this.
Very good.
Again,
it's very fun.
I might have to pull that back up.
It's Back for Blood, cowboy style.
Well, do I have to pay for it?
No.
Oh, okay.
And ready for this, and they've answered
that. Actually makes me
and
cool.
Here's another thing: playing it, you get a ton of rewards playing it. Like, I think they must have seen all the criticism, and they actually put thought into this mode and also thought into the rewards for this mode. It is a blast. Don't try to do a single player. I tried to do that a couple times because you get rocked. But it's one of the ones.
Don't try it as single player?
Don't try to do it solo.
Oh,
yeah. So it's waves. It's 10 waves. It's each
horde
town.
Mode.
It's horde mode. Each town, you start in Blackwater and you go through all the different locations, and it's waves, and you got to make it to wave 10. And it's legit. If everybody in your team dies, that's it. That's the furthest wave that you've made it to. It gets more difficult, and the thing that is difficult about it is you can be undercover and you can be riding. I like to ride my horse back and forth because you've got to cover the whole town, and they've got NPCs helping you on your team, and they get destroyed. But I'll be riding my horse and I'll take it, and I'll get headshotted by one of the NPCs. At like wave 6, I'd say they start to get super accurate. But playing with people, so I was playing with randoms. But dude, playing with friends, that mode would be so much fun. I was having
it's just
fun
like
by myself.
remember they had a horde mode in Undead Nightmare DLC.
Yes.
It sounds like it's like that, but not the undead.
Then you get tons of cash, gold, rewards, experience. That part I like about it. I will probably, ready for this, I will probably actually get the battle pass because I'm playing this so much. I'm going to level up that battle pass. Might as well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the game is the same. I do enjoy, obviously. There's nothing like riding through, doing some hunting stuff like that.
When they do stuff right,
but they
do it
need,
right.
if this represents step 1 to making it GTA Online level fun, they are well on their way. If they can string 2 or 3 these type of content drops together, it's up there. It'll be up there pretty quick. It's that fun. I really like it.
It's why you were talking about it earlier this week. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah,
that mode sounds fun. We'll have to I'm gonna re-download it so we can play it.
Yeah,
on that one.
And the other thing is, oddly enough, for a Rockstar game, because we know how toxic online community in Rockstar can be in any Rockstar game.
Sure. Well, in any game period.
The internet.
Yeah, but in Red Dead Redemption particularly, it's pretty like good luck being out there by yourself once someone decides to gank you. And,
gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, so
pirate.
But multiplayer, everybody was working together. Super cool. Like they'd come revive you. They play how you're supposed to play.
Cool.
It was a blast.
Yeah, no, that's fun.
The other thing, guys, I realized this too. You talked about it about Halo 4. First, there's this tutorial level. I've realized I don't think games need tutorial levels anymore or tutorial experiences. Just throw me in. I don't need to learn stuff.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say have an option to disable tutorials.
No,
right at the beginning, because
there's different. Okay,
we're talking about like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, the younger generation.
Yeah, yeah. But you're talking about. I think that's the difference. Like, I agree with you. Disable tutorial. So in other words, don't have a tutorial level. Have just start the game, and then if you want pop-ups, having the ability to turn on or off those pop-ups. I agree with that. But I don't like a tutorial level. You always know when you're in a tutorial zone or a tutorial level, and I think it kills a lot of games for me. It killed Assassin's Creed Valhalla because I was waiting to get to England.
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, I think the trend for that year. What was that? Like 2019, 20? When did that game come out?
2020? Was it last
20?
year?
I don't know. It was around the same. It was around the same time where I was still upset about Forza's tutorial.
Same Forza.
Like,
I don't need pop-ups. Rockstar does pop-ups.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. Sure. They jump you into the story, but I don't need a tutorial on it. What made me realize it is Omno. Omno's the first game I beat in a while, like fully, completely beat the whole game, and I was able to get sucked in. I have so much time in my life. I can't waste.
You have limited time.
I have limited time.
Yeah.
I cannot waste my time in your pansy ass tutorial zone. I'm sorry. Get me. If you want to introduce me,
what do you think about it like that? You just got a point.
If you want to introduce me to the origins of Valhalla for 5 minutes and then drop me in England and give me the option to go back to do completionist stuff, I'm down with that. But get me out of your tutorial zone.
I'm laughing at chat. Just create. This is Shadow Hypnotic. Just create a games journalist mode in the menu.
Yeah, but you know what's funny?
That's funny.
That's funny because I actually think it's the game journalists that need the tutorial.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
That's why
there was
funny.
no tutorial, so this game sucks. It's totally for review popping.
So, well, no, I actually agree with you because I think you're right. There's really no need for tutorials in a lot of games, and I think a lot of games. I think a lot of
racing games.
Yeah.
To be honest, a shooting game.
No, even yeah. For instance, if I jump into Halo Infinite and I'm in a tutorial zone, that is needless. I don't need a tutorial zone in Halo Infinite.
There's something about like I think of a game like Rise of the Tomb Raider or Tomb Raider. They throw you into the game and they have slight tutorials where like you'll be climbing a ledge and then a button will pop up on the corner.
That's
and
pop-ups.
It says X to jump and you jump.
Yeah,
I think it doesn't take away from anything.
That's pop-ups because it immerses you in the story right away.
Yeah,
it's not a whole tutorial level.
I get
zone.
what you're saying for like younger kids, like have a mode, and I think that would be nice too. But then I also think
no, screw them.
We didn't have tutorials until like the GameCube.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, I mean they thought of this a long time ago. You remember? Speaking of Halo, remember the first Halo when you get out of cryo freeze and the guy's like, "Okay, look at me, look up, look down, look left, look right." And
does that feel okay to you?
And he's like, all right, just testing your armor. And it just trained you how to look up, down, left, and right. And if you used the wrong joystick, it instantly made you southpaw.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Tutorial over.
You hide it.
And fun fact, in co-op, they skip that part because they figure you as friends can figure it out.
They really do. Yeah.
No, but no, I think there's something about discovering things in games because when I like for example, there's been situations where I'm trying to think of a game for an example, but we'd be playing a game and you would say, "Hey, I figured it out. I use this gun with this loadout and it does this," and you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's genius!" You know what I mean? I think there's a certain thing to be said about what you're saying, like discovering things for yourself.
Yeah, I think it adds.
And let's be honest,
I think it adds also the frustration if you can't discover something. Like, oh, what do I do? And then it's like in my mind, I'm like, well, I can just Google it. And I'm like, nope, figure this out. And when you do, it's like this dopamine award or reward that it hooks you in the game more.
I'm going to be honest with you. If Escape from Tarkov does not have a tutorial and people can start to understand how that game works, no game needs a tutorial.
Okay, it's different if you it's different if you have an optional training ground to
they
go
don't
to.
even have that. You literally have to build your optional training ground, and by that point, you probably know how the game works.
That game is the most anti-tutorial game you will ever play in your life.
And look how popular it is.
Yeah.
It's Well, I get it.
No, I get what you're saying, especially in a single-player game. Like I was just playing through Control, and so were you.
Yeah.
And its tutorials were basically gameplay
It's pop-ups.
levels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pop-ups. It immerses
they,
you in the
they almost
story
like
right
tied
away.
it into the story. Yeah. I think there's correct way. Like the way Assassin's Creed does it, I don't like that because it's like you hype me to play in England for the latest one.
For
and I
every
spend,
single
like, the
trailer.
first
Was
5
there
hours
any trailer that was like Norway? Here you go. It's awesome. No, every single trailer was England.
And the thing that's hard is the game unlocks when you get to England because you got the base, all the different side quests. I mean, to be honest, I don't know.
What don't you know?
I don't know. I guess you could be like, oh, well, it sets up the story, and it's like, well, yeah, you could have just said like, oh, you guys want to sell to England today? Yeah. We're Vikings.
You literally could have had two guys sitting on a dock. And one of them looks at the other and be like,
one's fishing. There's always
you know
one
what we
fishing.
haven't done in a while? And the other Viking looks over and says, rape and pillage? Yep. Let's go.
He goes,
I
where
would
should
have
we
been
go?
fine with that. I didn't need this backstory.
And then he'll go like, well, where should we go? Well, we always go west. What if we went east this time?
Let's explore.
All right. And then maybe even throw in a boat level. Who knows? I don't know. I would have done a boat level. That would have been fun.
I actually take it back. I think Roblox and Minecraft are the tutorials for every other game. I don't think we need anything anymore. I mean, because that's every kid plays games.
Andrew Courtney in chat says some tutorial sections of games work great and others don't. Comes back to how devs handle onboarding you to gameplay. I agree with that. I think what I'm saying is overwhelmingly, I think pop-ups with the initial story that you want to tell work far better, more often than having a separate tutorial level at the beginning of the game.
Even if you take Red Dead Redemption 2, they had
right into the story.
Well, yeah, you're right into the story, but you are technically in a tutorial zone. You're not immediately open to the free world.
Yeah.
And same criticism goes there.
Again, though, that was a criticism by a lot of people.
And I did agree with that criticism. Although I was at least interested in the story within that tutorial zone, it still was kind of like you're waiting, like, okay, when does the real game?
It wasn't as good as Grand Theft Auto 5 that just throws you in there.
Yeah, it was just like,
after you watch people curb stomp
Grand
each
Theft Auto
other.
5 was great. It was like, hey, rob a bank. All right, here's the game.
Yeah, so I think that's what I'm saying. Loyal Doyle says I only play a game for 1 hour now, and I'm either locked in or I won't play it again. And I think when you're busy, as adults especially if you have a stressful job or you're going through, different stuff, life happens. I do think it is, and not only that, that's not the only game in town. Literally, like there are hundreds of games competing for your attention. The sooner you can hook me, the more likely I am to see your game and all the way through.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. I couldn't stand that. Brian F says, I couldn't stand that snow tutorial area of Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah,
and I get it. It's a valid criticism. I mean, if I'm going to criticize it for Assassin's Creed, I got to criticize it for Red Dead, and I agree. I think the difference Red Dead and Assassin's Creed is I was at least interested in the Red Dead one, whereas Assassin's Creed, I mean, I guess I was interested, but
yeah. So I'm not saying I'm against tutorials. What I'm saying is I'm against tutorials. No, I'm saying don't give me a tutorial level. Just give me pop-ups. That's what I'm against.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the tutorial team are the interns.
That's all they trust them with.
Yeah.
Hey, teach people how to play the game.
We don't have
we'll
time
make
to waste
the real
on
game.
this crappy level. You guys do it.
You know what? Let me do that. Here, just take this.
Just take this. And we'll put it together. Anyways, that's my experience.
Your
My
soapbox
rant.
for the day.
Well, to be honest with you, there is a majority of games that really don't need tutorials.
Who did one right, actually, I thought, was Cyberpunk 2077.
Actually, I disagree with that a lot.
Really? No,
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the intro there.
Well, okay, I don't disagree with you, but I do. I think it actually should have been more playable, if that makes sense. But so in Cyberpunk's tutorial, it's actually kind of like Grand Theft Auto, where it's like, hey, go make a friend and do something, and then here's the game. But what they do is between the hey, make a friend and do something, and here's the game, is they show this huge montage, and that montage should have been playable.
I agree.
It would have been much better. You would have developed more of a relationship with Jackie. You would have cared more about him. You would have.
But I did care about Jackie.
Yeah, but think of how much you would have.
You could have cared more.
Think of how much more you could have.
Yeah, but see, I liked that montage because it was like, all right, yeah, get me to the city.
But
yes,
you could
have done that.
They were already in the city.
Build up to that. Instead, I got to take meth in my cubicle in the office or something.
Yeah, he threw up.
I did.
He did. He puked in the.
Yeah, my job was stressful.
Yeah, what did you go? Did you go Nomad Street Kid or yeah? Because I went Nomad, so I was like a guy on the outside.
Yeah, I was Nomad as well.
I drove into. I was
Nomad.
Oh
yeah, I drove into the city as well.
Yeah, I started out as the.
I had to go through the
in the top.
I had to
checkpoint.
As a nomad, I had to go through the California
the border patrol.
agricultural. They had to make sure I didn't have any fruit on me or anything.
And yeah, my whole tutorial was me dealing with stress.
No, but see that oddly enough, I enjoyed that montage. I thought, yes.
Yeah, I would have preferred that montage.
Thank you for not wasting my time.
What if maybe then it's a hit or miss for you then? Because we're giving examples where it's good, and we have mixed opinions obviously here. So, what makes a good tutorial for you then? The feeling of not wasting your time.
The feeling of not wasting my time. Yeah, if you can effectively hide the tutorial, you're gold.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The one thing gamers don't like is their time being wasted.
Yeah. Unless I'm who am I? Am I a WoW player? No, I don't want my time wasted. I don't play games to waste time.
Well, see, he's not wrong.
Am I grinding to level 90 to start the game? No, I'm not.
60.
If I wanted to,
but there is a lot of time
WoW.
wasting stuff in that game.
There is. That's the grind.
So
that is interesting. Hey, can we talk about?
Yeah, well, I think Andrew Courtney and Loyal Doyle are having a good interchange there. And what they both are saying, in chat, what they both are saying is make learning to play the game fun and not a chore. That's the key to a good tutorial. That's ultimately what I'm saying.
And some games don't need tutorials, just flat out. A racing game, right trigger is go, and left trigger is brakes.
Yeah. Dirt 5. Dirt 5's a good example. Doesn't have a racing tutorial. What they do is where there's a tutorial, it's in your menus, but that's masked with it's like a 1-minute presentation, and I'm okay with that.
I don't think shooters need any.
I don't think. I'm just gonna say it. I don't think open world RPGs
bumpers?
need tutorials. Tutorial zones.
I think
they need pop-ups. I'm fine with pop-ups.
I think they need pop-ups for specific mechanics of the game that are specific to the game.
That are brand new.
Yeah.
And introducing. I'm fine with that. And that's where I'm saying, give me a pop-up, not a tutorial zone.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Call of Duty does a great job of not doing a tutorial, yet you're kind of in an introduction zone. But it's because they blow you away with this jaw-dropping story.
Their introductions
blow up something.
Their introduction zones are a little controversial every time. They use that as the hype magnet for controversy.
The other thing, so there's a game that dropped this week that I've been watching. I've been looking out for. It's Humankind. It's Civilization 6. It's a counterpoint to it. It's trying to take what Humankind's trying to do is take some of the tedious annoyances of Civilization 6 and improve upon them.
Yeah.
So I've been watching,
and it's on Game Pass for PC.
Yeah, so that's what I want to say. It's on Game Pass for PC. I don't think we pay enough attention to Game Pass for PC.
I do.
I think what you do. Really?
Yes, I have actually a lot.
Oh, you pay attention. Yeah, okay. See, I need to pay more attention. I had no idea. I was getting ready to pull the buy trigger, and then it was like, oh, it's on Game Pass for PC. Having said that, I think for Microsoft to be more effective or effective from here on out, they can never do what they did with City Skylines. I own City Skylines on Steam because they gave me the Xbox version. That's not the case with Humankind. And I think as we go forward, I mean, in fairness, that was done before.
Is that a Microsoft thing or a developer thing?
That was done before Game Pass existed, before they were making a push on PC, so I don't think that would be done today. But Humankind, man, I really want to play this game. Turn-based strategy is my favorite genre.
It's a good one.
And I like it because as a man... why are you laughing?
I don't know.
Well, whenever you start that sentence,
I feel like
I'm ready to mute the channel.
No, I like it because as a man with limited time and with a life, I can take my turn when I damn well please. And that's what men do.
Yeah.
And I don't have to leave the game.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Unless I'm playing with you guys and we put it on like a 3-minute timer. or lower actually.
I think we put it. I think in Civ
3 minutes
I think
becomes
it was
really
like,
long.
I think it
sometimes.
was-
in Civ 6. I think we had a minute timer.
Minute and a half. I thought.
It
I thought
was-
Yeah, I
it
think
was
minute and a half,
I know
'cause I
we
think a
lowered
minute
it.
is too
Well, because
long.
I think we did like 2 minutes, and we were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh, and you're always pissed at the person that's taking the
know.
longer.
And you're like, "Come
and
on!"
then you're taking the turn because
Oh.
now it's your turn to make the decisions.
Or you're trying to go too fast that you miss something.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really interested in, and the other thing that I like about turn-based strategy games, and this is, sorry, let me be more specific. This is a 4X strategy game, is the longevity of it. I need a game in my life that I can slowly progress over time for years. MMOs, that's
you
the
need a World of Warcraft.
that's the well, no, but that's the
you
appeal.
need a time waster.
But it's not a time waster in a 4X strategy game because every little decision counts and goes towards a strategy.
It is when you're on turn 400 and someone freaking converts you to like Buddhism or something.
No, but that's
'Cause
what
you didn't
human,
see that coming
but
in.
see, humankind is trying to rid of
No.
that tedious.
David, you would not like to play against yourself then. I'm just
No, no,
saying,
no,
after
no.
a couple hours when we're playing co-op and all of a sudden all his armies are lining my borders.
Number one, subterfuge. My favorite play style.
Sabotage.
Yeah. Number two, that honestly was me just
No,
done and I had to go.
The worst in Civilization is you're literally on like turn 250 or 300, and you're like, why are my people going to a different church?
What?
And you're like,
Who has converted them?
yeah, what's going on?
Where are
I'm
these
laughing.
underground
and
missionaries?
then you're getting mad because you're like, okay, let's bring the military in, and then they're like revolting, and it's you're like, oh my, and you just quit and start over. Yeah.
Shadow Hypnotic says real-time strategy is the world's most powerful testosterone booster.
It
Amen.
is proven. That's science.
That's why I like 4X strategy games. I'm thinking about Humankind. It is on Game Pass.
Wait, 4X?
for PC. Yeah, so
4 times the strategy.
Yeah,
Is that really? Is that how much it boosts your
No, it means
testosterone?
something specific.
It's like because
Did I just?
it's
Am I
4
learning a new game?
No.
today?
It's 4 different elements because I think
Yeah.
isn't Stellaris a 4X strategy?
Yeah, that's a
game?
4X.
Or,
Crusader
sorry,
Kings is 4X.
Sins of a Solar Empire.
Is it 4 races or 4 ways to win? Or
No, it's mechanics. There's
No,
a
it's mechanics, so it's
Defined
like-
4X strategy.
It's like
Hold on.
turn-based.
I used to know it.
And then there was I don't know management. It's
I think
it's-
time.
Economy?
Time is number 4 is what it is. What makes it a 4 times. I think that's what it is.
So like Total War.
Yeah, exactly. 4X is abbreviation for explore, expand, exploit, exterminate.
I like to do the exterminate.
I'm
part.
gonna write that down. What are those?
Explore,
Okay.
expand, exploit, exterminate.
Yeah.
I've also been watching a lot of YouTube videos, speaking of this 4X strategy, on how to make video games and without knowing how to code. And in 2021, it's basically completely possible. And a lot of people are doing it. It's basically all you have to know
Is what's fun.
all you have to know is it's basically learning like a Photoshop program or an Adobe suite. It helps if you know coding and you can really customize it.
Mark,
but
you
totally
seem
possible.
like really impressed that you learned what 4X means.
I
today.
am.
Yeah.
But what does exploit go into? Go into detail with exploit. I get explore. I get expand. I get exterminate. But the third X.
Yeah, so exploit goes beyond
Converting
combat,
them to a different religion.
Subterfuge would be
Yeah,
exploit.
spies, converting them to different religions.
So that's the difference between like a StarCraft, essentially, right?
Correct. So a StarCraft would be like economy,
Explore, expand,
battle,
exterminate.
exterminate.
well, we should find other phrases that we don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
do
you guys already knew that. I'm the
Yeah,
dumb
Well,
one.
I didn't
Do you-
know what
well, I didn't know what
mean,
it was. I knew it
I
stood
had
for
looked it up
something.
before. and I
like,
know
do you
that's
know
it
what
was.
meta stands for?
Oh,
like,
yes.
you know what meta
Can
is,
I-
but do you know what meta stands for?
No, I don't.
What's the E? I know most effective tactic available.
Yep. Yeah, that's
I
what
got
meta
there!
is.
Tactic
Meta,
available.
yeah.
Most
So,
effective
a lot-
tactic
Because
available.
a lot of people,
That's
a lot
cool.
of people know
So
what
that-
meta means.
Wait,
Like,
so
oh,
is-
what's the meta?
So is that a military term?
It's now a
It sounds
gaming
like it.
term.
Gaming.
Well, I mean, the meta in military is nuking them.
Yeah.
That's probably the most cost-effective thing you could possibly do.
so maybe
You
it's
just have
not
to pay for a bomb. Sign me up.
Yeah.
See,
meta, so
but you
most-
don't want
Yeah, a lot of
you don't
people
want
don't know.
meta in real life.
No, meta real life.
The world would be dead if
Yeah.
meta was.
No, I actually, because a lot of people don't know. They know what meta is. It's like, oh, the meta is using this gun, right? But they don't know what it means.
Because it's the most effective tactic available. I got there.
I think it probably came from MOBAs, to be honest with you. Which you guys know what MOBA stands for?
Oh, here we go. Here, I'll just read this first.
I do, but I.
Yeah, wait. I do know this.
Most.
MOBA.
No, hold on.
obscene?
No, I don't know. It has to do with the
boys.
It has to do with the. It has to do with the end. The end crystals or whatever that you got to get. What? Tell me what it means.
I thought it was massive online battle arena.
That's right. I knew that.
Never mind, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I forgot.
Although I like that
I don't
most.
know what I was thinking.
I'm like the old man here. I forget stuff.
So here we go. 4X. Is a subgenre of strategy-based computer and board games and include both turn-based and real-time strategy titles. The gameplay involves building an empire.
Got it.
Emphasis is placed upon economic and technological development, as well as a range of non-military routes to supremacy.
Non-military. That's the exploit section. Fascinating.
Yes.
Well, and that's where
I wrote that down,
that's where you
everybody.
get your difference from like Command and Conquer and StarCraft, right?
4X, and it's E to the fourth. I like how they used E's. Explore,
Equad.
expand,
Equad.
exploit,
Equadruped.
exterminate.
Anyways, I would like to. It's Game Pass. It's the value of Game Pass right there. The value of Game Pass.
It is, indeed.
Huh. What else? This is great. I always learn stuff from David.
Yeah, so we got 4X, MOBA, meta. I mean, we all know what MMO means, right?
Yes.
MMORPG.
Well, and so that's the appeal to an MMO is this like constant progression. But where MMOs kill it for me more often than not is fetch quests, because I know exactly what I'm doing. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't like Spartan Ops.
is
That's
that all
just
Spartan Ops
you just
is?
go one side of the map, press a button, it's a fetch quest to go to the next part of the map, press a button to open the door.
Which again,
next part of the map, press a button.
Control kind of is a fetch quest, has a lot of fetch quests, but they do it overlapped with insane storytelling.
And the gameplay's fun. That was the other problem with Spartan Ops. The gameplay
once you get a living gun in your
the
hand.
the problem with Spartan Ops, just real quick, and this is another thing where 343, I'm like, guys, just do what works. Is 343 took out Firefight for Spartan Ops. Spartan Ops is a worse version of Firefight, which you would think, how do you screw up Firefight? That's how. And then you go Halo 5, they added in Warzone Fire. Like, just give me Firefight. Like, that's all I want. You don't need to add something.
Well, they're trying to be themselves, and they don't have the confidence to do it.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Warzone Firefight was fun, but why can't they just have regular Firefight? You know?
Yeah. Before we leave here, we're getting to the end of the show. Let's discuss what Hazard Zone appears to be. It does.
Oh yeah.
Big
it
rumors.
does
That's big
indeed
news.
appear to be. And can we put one check mark
you were
in
right.
the David box for being correct here?
You were right. I didn't think they'd do it.
Escape from Tarkov meets Hunt Showdown.
Yeah.
Seems to be Battlefield 2042 Hazard Zone.
Yeah, with Battlefield doing like their versions of their tech tests and stuff like that, there was a lot of leaked footage and data mined stuff. And some of the stuff they data mined was that they believe, and this is still all rumors, but it's within the data mining stuff, so we're pretty sure it's there, is Hazard Zone seems to be a mix between Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown, which aligns with what they said earlier, a high-risk, high-reward squad gameplay mode.
For those that have never played those games, it's very risky to play with the stuff that you bring in, but it's high reward that you can take stuff out to play next time.
Yeah, so the core... sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
and Hunt Showdown is...
That with level bosses.
Yeah, with permadeath
For
with
your
characters.
Yeah,
So you basically can level up a character, and if he dies, he dies.
He dies.
Past
he
level
dies.
10.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's a little...
So
Drago gets
and
him.
I think it's a smart move, and I think because I don't think you can compete with Warzone at this point. Like, what do you do better than Warzone? And granted, we didn't.
You do
think
better
Warzone
with
could
not
do that.
having cheaters.
Which we do know they're going to have a anti-cheat in the game.
But I think this is smart. Have a perpetual no AAA title has done a Tarkov like
We'll see, and I think
experience.
I think
there is an opportunity there for it to be done in a very, very good way.
See, and I think the reason AAA studios don't do stuff like this is because they want the most players possible, right?
Sure.
And games like this are, I'll admit, Tarkov, I think it's gained popularity among different groups, but it's still a nicher game. You know, it's definitely a style of game. But no, if they do this, that would be cool. And it depends on how they do it.
Well, here's the thing, though.
And they say Tarkov-esque, right? So I don't want to go in just expecting
So
Tarkov,
it's going to be its own twist on these types of games. Or that's the rumor. It's not been confirmed yet. But the thing is, even though those games are niche, where money is taking niches to the masses. So, for instance,
look what Fortnite did.
For instance, Battle Royale modes, i.e. Arma 2, was a niche mode. It was a niche game. And who made a lot of money? PUBG and Fortnite. And ultimately Fortnite.
Player unknown initially.
Yeah, player unknown. And then Fortnite took that and took it more mass market appeal. Taking these niche ideas and mass marketing them is where there's a lot of money and a lot of success. If Battlefield does this right, they'd have first mover advantage in this space, and I think you could potentially crush it.
Yeah,
but you got to do it right, and there's a lot of ways to do it wrong.
There was different stuff in the data mining that showed that you might be walking around and there will be like AI, so people were like, oh, kind of like scavs and scav bosses, you know, which is interesting. They did say it did seem squad based, so I don't know if you could do it solo or not.
Showdown has that like team.
Yeah. I think you can do solo and
Tarkov is as well. But they have to make it. Honestly, they have to make it so you can shoot your friends on accident.
Yeah,
they have to.
They do.
They can't. You can't shy away from being punishing.
That's
what makes these games fun.
They talked about having like a special currency for that mode. You take that currency and then I don't know if it. No one really knows if you'll buy weapons with it or do other stuff. They did show like a list of different like upgrades you can buy within that mode, which would be like reviving teammates, faster. Just different stuff like that. So it's really gonna. When we learn more about Hazard Zone, it's really gonna be interesting. But I think you said it perfect. You cannot shy away from being punishing. The reason Tarkov is fun, as frustrating as it is, it's fun because it's hard, and because it's hard, it's that much more rewarding. It's like Dark Souls. When I beat a Dark Souls boss, I feel great. Talk about testosterone.
I feel amazing.
4x testosterone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
Their take on it.
Yeah.
Because no one really has done it like Tarkov.
That's true.
The next closest would be Hunt, but it's almost different.
The big meme and joke about Tarkov is how it's so punishing that people joke that developers don't want the players to have fun.
And that makes it fun.
And in doing that, they make the game like there's like there's an excitement about like the Tarkov wipes and starting over and what I mean?
I call it butt clench moments.
You're butt clenched from when you enter the arena until you die.
Yeah, and that is...
And even when you die, it's the moment of... Oh gosh!
And it's one of those things too, and this exists in other games. It does exist in battle royales that your micro decisions end up to tell the story of this full experience in a match, and it determines your wins or loss. All these micro decisions, you got to consistently make the correct one. But it's emphasized in these types of games because of the risk reward factor that's there. It's not just micro decisions like who do we go kill, when do we go kill them. It's micro decisions on. Okay, I've got this loot. Should I get out? Should I stay in? That guy's got a real, do I battle at this time? Where do I exit? What exit is safest? There's all these micro decisions added because of that risk reward feature that I think a AAA game studio that puts a ton of money into it has so much potential.
When I'm thinking like, what if they did things like Tarkov? So for example, like
time to kill under 1 second.
Well, yeah. Well, there's mods or not mods, but like the community servers that do like quicker time to kill, and people like those game modes. But I'm thinking like, Battlefield are big maps because they're going to be used on the same multiplayer maps. I don't know if they'll be the whole map or sections of the map or whatever. But can you imagine like just like in Tarkov, if you're a sniper and you're just like, I'm going to stand in this bush and wait for these guys to come by.
I'm stranding in this
little
bush.
Pop shot,
Standing in this bush, baby.
I think, David, you're right. You said it best. they can't shy away from it being punishing.
Well, what makes
and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah,
and frustrating. Do you think they're gonna? So many people so many of the masses, if they go that route, are going to complain though.
But that's the thing: is you got to do what Battlestate Games does. I even complain about Battlestate Games, and you know what they do? They add in a feature that makes me complain more.
Yeah.
They're like Battlestate Games is like, hey,
they're the ones who make Tarkov.
Hey, they're complaining about the flea market. What should we do? They want to complain. Make it level 20.
Oh.
Yeah, see what they complain about now.
Actually, I kind of
They want to complain? Screw them.
I actually don't mind the level 20 as much as I initially did.
Yeah, no. I don't either. At first, it was kind of a punch. To be honest, I was talking to Mark about this. I think they should get rid of the flea market altogether. Then it would be like...
Then it would be everything you bring in, you had to loot, basically.
Yeah.
What if they got rid of, like, vendors, too? Oh. It's just straight up.
Straight in the map.
Can I tell you guys something? Spicy, I actually would like you to jump in. And I would like to get your opinion on it in particular, because you had the biggest issue with the movement and feel of Vigor.
Oh.
Vigor had their Season 9 update drop this last week. For the last 2 seasons, they've really been pretty stale. They've really, and they've said, the developers, we're working on stuff behind the scenes, blah, blah. It shows in this one. They dropped for the Xbox Series X and PS5 60 frames per second. They changed the movement, the way the running mechanics, the movement mechanics. It feels solid. Like it's less loose, it's less goofy. I mean, it still has that unique Vigor feel. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Rogue Company all of a sudden or Apex. But that 60 frames makes...
Well, it might just be that 60 frames that just makes it feel smoother.
Well, no, because they did do, change some of the movement mechanics as well, and it feels so much more solid. I have never been more impressed. The developers had their dev stream this last week because it's their 2-year anniversary or 1-year anniversary. Is it 2? I think it's 2-year anniversary, and they said, what do you see for the future of the game? They said, we're finally where we're at. We're caught up. And this is like stage 1. Now it's time to build. And so I'm excited for that. Let's see. Well, let's see, because it does feel, it's like, oh, they just got out of beta. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Now I want to see focus on economics. You've got to give me something shelter-wise. You've got to give me events seasonal-wise to work towards.
Maybe?
See, the thing about it is why Tarkov stays so...
is because of the wipe.
That and during they have a lot of money dumps.
Yeah.
That like the hideout... You burn every penny for a long time into your hideout.
Yeah.
And then it wipes, and then you got to start over. And then it wipes, and then you got to start over.
They also have introduced grenades this season. The grenades, obviously, like damage, there's a radius, and as that radius gets larger, the grenade does less damage, but at a certain radius, it's a one-hit kill. And I think it's changing the game because no longer can you just sit inside a building and outweight somebody. You've now got to be much more strategic.
Yeah. Well, hey, actually, going back to the Battlefield thing, you were saying that will they listen to like the masses of people complaining that it's too hard? I wonder if Battlefield's a good example because you have the other 2 game modes. You have Battlefield Portal and you have the regular Battlefield where those players can play.
If that'll help this, basically,
if that'll help,
ignore.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal: the mainstream streamers that. They will be focusing on this game mode.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be the ones that are going to be complaining a lot of the time, in my opinion. And then everyone else will be like, yeah. And maybe they won't complain. Maybe they'll be enjoying the game. And then other people are going to want to play that game mode instead, and then they're going to complain. I just have it's just scary.
Well, I think developers
to have a hardcore mode to the masses.
I think developers need to take criticism and feedback, and they need to take that. That's how a game grows and gets better. But I also think on the flip side, developers also should
ignore feedback.
Well, no,
should makes Nintendo great.
Yeah,
no.
Well, at a I think developers should, at a point, also say, "Hey, maybe this game isn't for you."
Yeah, no,
and I don't think, and they shouldn't be afraid to say that. For example,
I think the key to good developers is knowing what feedback is valuable.
Yeah. For example, Dark Souls, or From Software, I think is a great game developer. I think they make great games. I think they make them hard on purpose, and I think that is the reason we have a Souls game. We have the term Souls-like because of how it is. There is a lot of people that want Dark Souls. Or the next Elden Ring to have a difficulty mode, like normal, hard. And the reasoning is, well, if you want to play the regular Dark Souls experience, you just play hard and nothing's taken away from you. But you allow more people to come in with the normal mode. And I disagree with that 100% because that invalidates the game. The reason Dark Souls is Dark Souls, and the reason we can sit and talk about, that guy before I got to Firelink Shrine took me 3 battles or whatever, It's because it's hard, and
their core gameplay mechanic is difficulty.
The difficulty, and is how the game plays. And the game is about overcoming that difficulty and getting better.
It's
right?
a game about skill checks.
Yeah.
It teaches. That's the tutorial of Dark Souls.
Yeah. Don't die.
Death.
You have to learn how to play better before you can beat this boss. Okay, you beat that boss. Now in another couple hours, you're going to hit something else where you're going to have to improve your gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game about difficulty. That's the misconception. I've heard people say, "Well, I don't like Dark Souls because it's hard for the sake of being hard." It is not this hard for the sake of being hard.
It's built.
It's built for skill checks. It builds your skill level technically higher and higher as you play it, and they are so good at the timeline on how they improve your gameplay.
Yeah.
And that's what that game is about.
Well,
the game is about self-improvement.
Yeah,
and
it is.
overcoming
It's a reflection.
obstacles.
It's a reflection
Being
game.
great.
And when you finally beat that boss, you got to a different horizon in your life.
When
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I think. I don't know what I was going to say. Oh, no, yeah. I was going to say, no, well, that's what makes Dark Souls, right? And they've done a good job of saying, hey, we're not going to add a difficulty mode because this is our game and this is how we want the game to be played.
I think from a strategic standpoint, Battlefield is on the right path. Why try to enter a crowded room? Like why go stand out? And I think that's the strategy. And remember we said this before, they just feel more focused than they've been in a while. Mm-hmm. It feels focused, and I think a part of that is this type of strategy. Like, we're not going to be everybody else. We're going to be Battlefield. Yeah. What does that mean? What does that mean for our multiplayer? Do we go into and do this Warzone thing that everybody's trying to do? Well, we tried it with Firestorm. We've got new leadership here.
Okay, correction. We tried it for a week with Firestorm and then gave up on it.
Yeah. How can we make a splash? What can we do differently to draw people to our game instead of just being the same, just another, the same play style with another skin over the top?
Well, and that's why I bring up Dark Souls as an example, because as Dark Souls got more popular, that's when it started getting that criticism of, hey, you should have an easy mode so everybody can play. And it's like, well, no. And that's what I don't want Hazard Zone to be like. That was the best comment. Don't be afraid of it being hard.
Yeah. Let Tarkov be Tarkov.
Now I'm just saying. I mean, I basically, in my view, in my brain, I want like a clone copy of Tarkov just on the Battlefield engine.
That would be,
you know. But I know it's not going to be that. All said and done, I'm interested to see what they're doing, and I don't mind if they make it difficult.
I just had this thought. Sorry, and then we'll get out of here. It's where we're getting up there in time. Brian F says Dark Souls is perseverance through adversity. That games do teach lessons, and that would be that. So, for instance, Omno. I think what I enjoyed about Omno is just joy. Like, that's the only way to describe it. It's not a great game, but it is a game that's just like, hey, here's why you love video games. Go. They bring you joy.
They do.
Dark Souls is about improvement, getting better each level.
It really is. That's the misconception. And if you give up before you improve, you're not going to enjoy that game.
Red Dead Redemption
you'll always hate it.
is about not trusting your criminal friends.
Yeah, it is.
Gears is that aliens can kill you.
Yeah. Life lessons.
Don't trust strangers.
Don't trust strangers.
Yeah.
Even intergalactic strangers, including intergalactic.
Did you say Gears? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Gears.
Gears, yeah.
What does World of Warcraft teach you?
No, Gears teaches you if it crawls out of the ground,
shoot it.
Shoot it. That's a good life lesson.
That is a good life lesson.
Yeah.
Is there anything that does crawl out of the ground that you don't want to shoot?
No. I think everything that crawls out of the ground generally I want to shoot.
I beheaded a snake a few weeks ago in front of my children. Taught them a lesson.
Yeah.
Was it for teaching a lesson?
Yeah, they weren't cleaning their rooms.
Also,
I
brought one home.
See what happens when
I brought
you don't
one home and
clean your
said,
room?
"Hey, if you don't listen to me, see this snake? The snake didn't listen to me. See this shovel?
Do you want to know one of my experiences with a snake? Real quick.
Go ahead.
It was when we were living together at our grandparents' house. This was years ago. I was watering. I think it was your garden at the time.
It was mine.
Yes, I was watering your garden because you asked me to do it, and I watered it, and all of a sudden when I hit a certain point, this snake popped up.
Stood up.
It freaked me out. I was like, "Oh man!"
Oh, there's
so
a
I ran
snake.
inside, and I was like, "Grandpa, there's a snake out there." And you know what he did? He went, and he just like stood up, and he never said anything. He walked out there, and he like walking all slow up to it, and he goes, "Where is it?" I said, "It's right there." And he goes, "Okay," and he just grabs it by the back of the neck. He throws it in like a it was like an Albertsons bag,
Yeah.
and he threw it in the trash can. And he just went back in and watched the nightly news. I was like, whoa.
These kids. And then he looked at you and was like, "You're soft."
Yeah, no, it taught me a lesson.
Generation.
Yeah.
Right
No,
there.
it did.
You're
It taught
soft.
me a lesson. Like, man, I need to get good.
Get good. Moral of the story.
He did. He
Get
just
good.
walked out and he grabbed it and he threw it in an Albertsons
Yeah.
plastic bag and threw it in the trash can.
I actually can witness that this story is accurate from the day it happened because Jordan called me and told me it when
It's
it
like,
happened.
Grandpa just Crocodile Dundee a snake in our yard.
Crocodile Dundee. Papa? That's funny, guys.
He Kratos'd you.
Yeah, he did. He did. I was like, I learned a
Don't
lot.
be sorry, be better.
Yeah, no, I did.
That's what he said with his actions.
Like, I learned a lot that day in that span of like 4 minutes.
That's funny.
If only, yeah, did he give you the look? If only you could do this yourself.
That does us for this week's episode, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, enjoy your week. Have fun gaming. Don't forget to head over to YouTube. Subscribe to us there, youtube.com/XoneBros. Like, subscribe to us, and review us over on iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher. I think we're almost to 600 reviews on iTunes.
Yay.
We're getting up there, baby. We're getting up there. So leave us a review. Unless you would leave us a bad one, then don't. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.